Bubbles' Big Day. Once upon a time, in the deep, dark reaches of the ocean, there lived a magical sea beast named Elsa and her baby Bubbles. Bubbles was so named after the fact that she loved to chase air bubbles. Her mother allowed her to chase the air bubbles, but never to their surface, for it was a scary and dangerous place. Then one day, as Bubbles was playing with the other sea creatures, she started chasing large air bubbles that were coming up from the sea floor. As she chased these air bubbles, she was growing ever so close to the surface until she found herself at the surface. Even though she knew it was wrong, she just had to surface and look around to see what she could see. When she surfaced, she looked around and saw so many wonderful things such as birds, clouds, and a mysterious large floating object she had never seen before, and they were getting closer and closer. She thought to herself, should she dive to the safety of her world or go investigate? Then all of a sudden she heard a loud BOOM as a large net was launched from the deck of the large floating object. The net completely engulfed her and she was dragged through the water, coming closer and closer to the large floating object. Once there, the net began to get tighter and tighter as Bubbles was lifted to the deck of the large floating object. Once on deck, she was surrounded by two-legged creatures that she had never seen before, and they spoke in such a way that Bubbles could not understand. She became very scared and began to cry, as she began to think that she would never see her mother or the safety of her home again. Then, out of the blue, the large floating object in its entirety was lifted far out of the water upon her mother, Elsa's enormous back. Elsa turned her large head around and bit the rope clean in half that held her baby Bubbles captured above the deck of the large floating object. When Bubbles fell back into the ocean, she felt safe again as she swam back to the deep, dark reaches of the ocean. As Elsa slowly submerged back into the ocean, the large object remained floating, and the foreign creatures that once held Bubbles captive scurried around the deck, and the large floating object hurried away to never be seen again. As Elsa reunited with her baby Bubbles in their safe home of the deep, dark reaches of the ocean, Bubbles realized that her mother's rules were there to keep her safe and happy. Bubbles promised to never question her mother's rules again.